call this meeting of the Palmyra Borough Council to order. Everyone please rise for pledge of allegiance and moment of silence for the armed services. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep. Brenda, may we please have roll call?
Counselor Andrews.
Present.
Counselor Catalani.
Here.
Counselor Flegel. Here. Counselor Ferroli.
Here.
Counselor Rydell.
Here.
Counselor Tache.
Here.
Counselor Shear.
Here.
Mayor Carpenter.
Here.
We have a full house.
All right, just a reminder to please silence all cellular devices, and council members, please make sure your microphones are on. Okay, special visitors, we have Michelle Bowman, Zoning Codes Enforcement Officer, and William Garber, Assistant Zoning Codes Enforcement Officer, present to discuss the boarding and rooming house registration and inspection. Want to make a presentation?
Is this this is going to be the legal definition of a rooming house? Go ahead.
That is actually what we're proposing
Okay.
to be the definition. Obviously, it still has to go before Joselle. But we think that pretty much encompasses everything that we're looking for. Bill might want to give a little more explanation of the things that we're looking to inspect.
So for everything that we have indicated on here, that is it's a pretty concise list, but I mean, there obviously is some other items. We'd be looking at the property maintenance code, which we have adopted. One of the biggest things about rooming houses that is when they are being used in a normal single-family home style atmosphere. That's how the house was built. You have one electrical service. You start throwing people in every room, and everyone starts throwing all kinds of appliances and toaster ovens and, microwaves. That's where one of the big problems arises. So trying to prevent any hazards from that end of it.
I'm just gonna say it because I think I've been the most vocal about this. I'm good with this. The first line makes all the difference in the world. A structure not owner occupied. My whole issue with this, it wasn't a problem, but an issue, was that we couldn't define if it was somebody renting a room in their house so that makes all the difference to me.
Anybody have any questions for Michelle or Bill?
Now, one thing I will say, I don't think we're at the point where we know how we're going to put it into effect, whether it's going to be a change of the zoning ordinance with a definition requiring the annual inspection, or if it's going to be a standalone ordinance. I know Joselle had sent us an email, I think it was last week, questioning which route we're looking to go. But our first mountain to climb was getting approval for the direction that we were looking to go. And then after that, I guess, is when Joselle will figure that out and get that information to you guys. So that we're still very unclear about.
And if we do need to change the definition of the zoning ordinance, since that's such a hassle to change, we have some other things we'd probably like to change at the same time too. So this might push this back a little bit, but.
I have no issue with this.
Anybody have any issue with this?
I'm good. And I could thank Michelle and Bill for coming tonight. I mean, we've been back and forth with this last couple of meetings and appreciate you guys coming in and breaking it down a little better for us so we have a better understanding.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Any questions over here?
That took a whole 5 minutes.
Before we move on, we have an announcement to make also. Michelle has submitted her resignation. She's going to be moving out of state,
Oh,
and her last day will be August 15th.
oh,
So we are already actively looking for a replacement.
and it took so long to find Bill.
And he was sitting here the whole time.
Good luck to you,
Yes.
and thank you.
Thank you.
For all your work.
Thank you.
It was great working here. Sad to leave, but life happens.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the years you've given us.
It was a pleasure.
I know you can. Do you need anything from us, Roger, on this?
I don't think so. It sounds like we have a
Action.
consensus
Okay.
to move forward with this, so we'll work with the solicitor on that.
Okay.
I think we are going to vacate.
I think you
Yeah, I don't
guys
think-
are good.
Take me
So-
with you.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Great.
go home and
That takes us to public comment period number 1. Please step to the microphone at the podium and state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes. Packed house and nobody wants to say anything. Nobody? Okay. All right, closing public comment period number 1. Moving on to the consent calendar. The following agenda items will be acted upon by a single motion. Unless a member of Borough Council wishes a specific item to be voted on separately, approve the minutes of the July 9th, 2024 Borough Council meeting, approve payment of all bills listed on the June 2024 detailed checklisting report, and approve the treasurer's report for the period June 1 through June 30th, 2024.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, that takes us to action and discussion items. First up is the Emergency Medical Services EMS provider. Okay, discussion, before I read any motions. Anybody? Don't everybody go at once.
I am assuming we are all ready to take a vote on this? If everybody's had plenty of opportunity to look over the information and everything? Yeah, I didn't. This is just a summary of what you have spoken to us in the past. Okay.
And it has some other stuff, some letters in here.
Roger, I have a question. In the suggested motion, the first one, it says $350 for the first 2 years and $5 for the remaining 8. When did that change? I thought it was,
Remember when they came back to us with the revised numbers, they said they were fine with the numbers, but they wanted to have a 10-year agreement. So I think it's written as,
missed that, okay.
it's written as 5 years and then automatically renews for another 5.
That's what,
Okay.
that's where the 10 came from.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. That was after this.
No, I think it was right before that.
Got it. Okay, yes, I did read that. I just wasn't thinking of that now. Okay, thank you. Okay.
I have a question here. So, so it's kind of, I guess, kind of over to you from Lifeline, is that your contract 10 years, why is it so important for you to have a contract with us for 10 years when the other provider over here has stated that they don't need any type of contract? And that, so I'm just curious about that, if you could answer that.
You want me to step to the mic, or?
Can I? Yeah, you can step to the mic, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. So we believe contracts are necessary for you as a council to hold us accountable for providing the service properly, for making sure we have qualified people to provide the service. There's also insurance requirements, both from the municipality standpoint and from Penn State Health standpoint. We really provide all the services under a contract. The thing about these contracts is there is a 90-day out clause without any type of cause, that if we're not providing the service that you expect us to provide, that you have a way out of that contract in 90 days. That 90 days is actually, can't be less than that. That's actually part of the requirement under the EMS Act to when you transition to a different EMS provider.
So why is it then you were provided for us for 22 years and you didn't need a contract, but then now all of a sudden you do? And I
So-
understand some of those stuff, but I also feel, you know, I think that if you're stating how it's important to have a contract, then why didn't you want to do it 5 years ago?
So actually, so I've been at Lifeline for 3 years. My understanding is there has been previous attempts, maybe under different elected officials, to secure a contract here. I can't speak for what occurred back then, but my understanding is there has been previous attempts to put a contract in place. This is really one of the, it's not the only one, but it is, you know, the one that we've serviced, again, with such a high volume of calls that has not had a contract in place. And, you know, we already explained to you the reasons for the municipal contribution that we're asking all of our municipalities for. You know, the cost of providing the service because of the inflation we're all experiencing is pretty, you know, pretty significant. And we're asking,
Yeah, I understand that, but also you guys come from Penn State Health, which is a big, you know, corporation, so you guys are always going to be okay in a lot of ways, and I'm very familiar with corporations. Yes, but also, you know, there's other places in the county, other counties that don't have contracts with ambulances, and they run perfectly smoothly. So that's like my biggest thing is, like, what about in 2 years if staffing isn't up to par, and we have to pay this money, and it, you know, it goes up, you know, what, 3 years, to, you know, whatnot. So why is that? Like, I just.
so a contract really solidifies a partnership, okay? This is Penn State Health is a partner with your community, not just to provide ambulance service, but also primary care and other things. 77% of the patients in the borough who call 911 seek care at our hospital, and we're an extension of that hospital. It helps to, you know, put in place that partnership, and again, a method that you can hold us accountable if we're not providing the service properly.
And also, when it comes to staffing here, what would you say that you've been able to hold up to with staffing? Like 60%, 80%?
So,
What have you been able to? Because I know I stated back, maybe it was June, was it, or end of May, where like if we go and, you know, if we go in this with you, like I would hope it'd be staffed at 100%.
You have my word that the Palmyra unit will be staffed 100%.
So I've done some research, because that's kind of what I like to do, and
Sure.
I found out that it's been staffing at 30%.
Don't know where you're getting that number for. The number we looked at was around 70%. Keep in mind that you're also surrounded by other Lifeline units that have provided, that provide response in here into the borough. And even with about 70% staffing, your average response time was 8 minutes. Okay, in calendar year 2023, we covered 1,352 calls, and mutual aid was needed from another organization only 79 times. Our performance in the borough, even with 70% of a staffed unit, is very good. I mean, we stand on our record there. And the other part of this is, I was reminded by my staff that predates me being at Lifeline. We've actually provided the service here for 28 years. I thought it was closer to 20, but we've been here a long time. Penn State wants to continue to serve this community, and the ambulance service is an extension of our hospital.
And that's something I understand, but for me, it's that, like, and I understand times are tough. I think everyone understands that, the economy. Some people feel it more than others, but when you're coming to us and you're seeing how we can contribute and give some money, and if it's not staffed 100%, no matter what, then it's like, we're giving you this money. And so that's my station, and also with a contract. Because we don't need a contract with you. We could make a motion, just say you're our provider, and then that would be known.
I'm not here to tell you how you should
Right.
make the decision on this. What I just mentioned is we will be 100% staffed here, okay? That's my commitment. Now, I think we need to be reasonable about that. Somebody calls in sick at the last minute and we're struggling to find staff. Those are just normal workplace
You should have a plan
situations that
B set
occur.
in place, a plan C set in place. I mean, that's what I do at my work, so you have all that, so.
Sure.
And then the other thing is the rent with the firehouse. I know there was a little back and forth with that, so is that something that you're able to, what?
Took that off the table.
Correct, I just
Right.
wanted to make sure.
Correct. We are no longer seeking any help for rent at the firehouse. And what we have done is accepted the counter proposal from the council. We've accepted that. As I promised, I went back to our executives and we had a discussion, and we're accepting the proposal that you sent back to us for $350 for the first 2 years, followed by $5 after that. And the discussion about the 10-year contract, you are right, it auto renews after 5 years unless the council wants to make a change. And at any time, with 90-day notice, either party can make a change without any type of cause. So, I mean, those are the safeguards that are in place, and those are what we find under our new municipal contracts that the municipalities want.
And one of my last ones is that, like, why should we decide to go with, your company and not the other provider? Well, what makes you so much different? I'm sure we're all aware of the service, but it's just, why should we do that and pay this, $3, $5 and
So-
do that?
So first of all the ambulances in the county are public servants. They all do a great job, including First Aid and Safety Patrol. We provide mutual aid to each other. I will repeat what I said previously. We are an extension of Milton S. Hershey Medical Center, and we have a large presence in this community, and we want to continue to serve this community like we have for the last 28 years. Our providers provide excellent care. In the introductory letter that you got with the contract proposal, it talks about the other services we provide. We have physician medical directors that routinely work with our staff and even respond to calls through the EMS fellowship program. We can provide, first aid training, CPR training to the township employees, things of that nature. So, and again, why should you go with us? Because we have an excellent record here for 28 years of a very low missed call rate, a very good response time at 8 minutes, even with only 70% staffed. All of us are struggling with staffing. No EMS organization around does not have a staffing issue right now. That's why we're backing each other up through mutual aid.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I would say this is that, do you have any other types of, like, people that you've worked with, communities that you have some letters, like we just received a pamphlet here with some nice little letters recommendation. For me, in my line of work, these speak loud when you're looking at their resume, when you're looking, you're talking. These speak loud because I want to know what other people think. So, yes,
mean,
Hershey Mill, yes, Hershey, yes, it's very well known, but I want to know more. Like, so do you have anything along those lines to provide us?
Do I have letters tonight to provide you? No, but you're welcome to speak to any of the other municipalities that we provide service. Derry Township, Lower Swatara, North Londonderry, many others in this area, also out in Berks County. Feel free to speak to some new areas that we service down in northern Lancaster County, Raffo Township, Penn Township, Manheim Borough. You're welcome to speak for any of those. Do I have letters of support here tonight? I don't. But,
Okay.
you know, I think it's important for you to understand that all of the municipalities we have served have approached Penn State Health and asked us to provide this service, okay?
Of course, because your name, it holds a lot of weight.
Sure.
So, of
Well,
course.
we have so it holds a lot of weight, but like, we have a big reputation to hold up of quality, and that doesn't go without hard work. It doesn't go without, you know, an investment. You talked about the, you know, big health system, right? We're a not-for-profit health system, okay? Funds that we make through patient billing is put back into infrastructure, building a hospital, maybe buying a new MRI machine that needs replaced, maybe buying a new ambulance for the communities we serve. That's the way a not-for-profit health system works, and that's what we're part of.
Okay, that's,
Going back 28 years when I was running ambulance here. The reason we did what we did was a certain individual, I'm not mentioning any names, decided that he wanted to get another ambulance company in here. He used to run with Paul Meyer, you know who I'm talking about. That's where all started from. He got them out and Hershey in, and it was kind of nasty the way he did it. So, I'm not looking at First Aid to be wrong, and I'm not looking for anybody else to be wrong, except it was a shady deal, and that was 28 years ago, right here in this office.
Well, EMS today cannot exist without mutual aid. We have to have the backup support for first aid, just like they have to have the backup support from us. That's the way the system works right now, and it's very taxed. It's very challenging, but we're here to be community partners. That's why we want to continue to serve, and we just need, we need to put something in place, and then we need to help offset some of our costs through a small municipal contribution.
why is it in the contract here, section 13.12, you said providers, you're asking us to waive our rights to require that the actions be in the Lebanon County Court of Common Pleas, instead of, go to the United States District Court for the Middle District of Pennsylvania.
So now you're talking things that are solicitor, and Penn State Health Legal draws up those contracts. I don't want to speak to that, of what court it goes to if there's a dispute. That's not my expertise.
I would imagine it's because Penn State Health is in Dauphin County. Not
I
Lebanon
would
County.
think, I don't have that part in front of me to read it, but, there's legal language in those contracts that are put in by our legal department, and I'm sure your solicitor probably reviewed it.
All right, does anybody else have any questions?
I do. So going back, you said you contract with Myerstown Borough?
No,
however-
we don't have a contract with Myers.
So do you have any contract else within the county? Because I know you guys cover East Hanover, Union, Swatara, Jonestown Borough, Bethel Township. Do you have contracts with them currently?
Correct, there is a contract with Bethel, Jonestown Borough. There is not with North Londonderry. I think I told you last time, we did meet with North Londonderry recently.
And they're paying the same amount?
So I'm not in a position to tonight tell you what each individual is paying. I mean, that's, it's public information, you can
Right.
get that, but I will tell you, like, the Jonestown Borough, those contracts up near the Fredericksburg area in the Ono, those are 5 years old almost.
Right, and $0. I talked to a township supervisor in Swatara Township, they're paying nothing.
Right, well, and those contracts are in place, and remember I said that we're approaching all of our municipalities?
Right.
And we haven't
But you're
spoken
gonna
to
approach
those
them with
municip-
something like this?
We
then?
are, we
Okay.
are, correct.
'Cause I'm
And-
looking at-
And we approached the North Londonderry with something similar.
Because my thing is, I'm looking at this for our residents in our borough, is they're probably gonna have to eat the cost of this.
Understand?
I am not for raising taxes, period, for anything. I'm not for cutting any departments in our borough. But $368,000 over the next 10 years is quite a chunk.
Understand. I'm not here to tell the borough how they should make this decision. Again, the council counter-proposed an offer to
Right,
us.
and I know that, yeah,
And
and-
we've accepted that offer, so I don't know what else I understand maybe individual council members may not have agreed with that, but the council came back to us and we've accepted it.
Right, and my last one, my last one, is you said you'll guarantee is 100% coverage. And I get it, there might be a call in North Londonderry, whatever, they gotta respond to, but what about transports? Will this get pulled to do a transport?
So, as I said last time, we do use all of our ambulances to transports, and you have to think about what that looks like. There are citizens here in the borough that are in our hospital that get discharged and need a
Right, need
ride
to come
home.
back home.
They're your citizens.
Right.
So what we try to do is, when the Palmyra unit is on an emergency call and gets to our hospital 77% of the time, we look to bring them back with a patient that needs to come back.
And that's smart
then-
maneuverability.
Great, and then we also manage the system through the system status management. There's an EMS supervisor on duty who moves units around when he needs to provide the best coverage we can when those things happen.
I was just curious, because
Yeah,
like I said the
yeah.
other before, my ex-wife runs with you guys, she runs out of the station. I know there's been times
Sure.
that she couldn't pick my kids up at
Sure.
Normal Exchange at 6 o'clock, because she had to do a transport to Pittsburgh out of Palmyra. I mean,
Sometimes
that's
that
what I get
happens.
worried about.
Yeah, sure.
Not that her, she's not picking kids, I've had my kids, but, their ambulance, like other coverage, but that ambulance is leaving here to go to Pittsburgh.
In transparency, all of our units are used both for 911 response and for transports. That is part of having an ambulance company with a health system. Both are equally important because one of your citizens who's boarding in our ER, who needs a bed upstairs, we're clearing that bed out so then that person can have a bed in our hospital. That's how the business works. So we do have a private ambulance company also supporting us at Penn State with some of the volume of transports. As you can imagine, being the largest hospital in this area, we have a ton of transports we have to do to get people home or get them back to the nursing home.
Okay, thank you.
I was transported by an ambulance at Hershey about 6 months ago, and it wasn't first aid, and it wasn't, the other first aid or,
Central Medical, is that?
yeah. But it was a white ambulance, blue lettering, and I never saw it before.
Yeah, so our comm center reaches out for help when we can't do these transports, so,
Well,
yeah.
they picked me up and took me to the VA.
Took you to the VA? Yeah, and not uncommon. We have a lot of EMS units in and out of the Hershey Medical Center.
Are you good, Marcus?
I'm good.
Do you have any?
I'm good.
You're good, okay. So, I don't have any questions, but I have some statements to make. First, if we have a contract and it says about 100% coverage, and for some unforeseen reason, they come to us and say, hey, I'm sorry, we gotta pull your ambulance today. We have a little bit more leverage if we have a contract to say, no, sorry. You need to provide service to us today, okay? So that's one thing to remember. If we have no contract, we don't have a leg to stand on, okay? Another thing, we all got an email with a subscription card attached to it. If you looked at that subscription card, you will have noticed that a membership, $50 individual, $60 family. Under that, it said adult dependents except spouse is an additional $20. Do some thinking. That means if you're an individual who happens to have an elderly parent living with you, or two, you are now spending, you're an individual, $90 a year for a membership, or if you're a family, $100 a year if it's two parents, and that's on top of whatever per capita may end up being agreed upon down the road.
No, well,
Down the road.
if you're referencing that, they did also state that last time that the first 2 years, it was gonna be nothing, and then after the third year,
That's
they.
just words. That's not a contract.
but-
Remember that.
but they-
That's not a contract.
I'm well familiar with contracts, but
I'm
I'm
just
just,
saying.
we haven't had a contract with them for 28 years, and everything was fine, and then, but,
Just
here, go ahead.
saying. I'm
assume you're
just
right.
Yeah,
saying.
go,
If I may address this, and I guess I'll start from the top, I'll just cut to the chase. Why are we here? I'm here, First Aid's here, not to steal Lifeline, territory from them and take Palmyra Borough from Lifeline. We're here because we identified two things. One of those things was that your current ambulance provider wasn't here staffing this station for in excess of 50% of the time. My data says 30%. I'm not gonna go back and forth, it's at least 50%. Now, some of that is for emergencies, some of that they pulled the unit to do a routine transport. That's number one. The second reason I'm here is because they came to you and wanted you to lock you in on a decade-long contract. I'm not adverse to the word contract, I'm adverse to a decade-long lockdown. That would give me pause, that should give anybody pause. We're here because we can do better. We're here because we can do better for the residents of Palmyra. That's why we're here. To touch on a couple things, when I say staffing unit, I promise staffing unit 100% of the time, we mean 100% of the time. That doesn't mean when we can, we'll do the best we can, we'll try. It means 100% of the time. It means not taking that unit out for a routine transport ever at any time. And that's a pretty tall order. You have to walk that walk. And I think if you check with South Londonderry Township, we've done it. It's what we do. We don't pull that unit for transports. We don't relocate it. It's there to respond to emergencies. So looking at those things, it's a superior offer that we've made to cover the residents of Palmyra Borough. We think it's a better service. We don't want a long-term contract. That doesn't mean, when you say contract, exclusivity contract versus, say, a service level contract. If you would like a service level agreement, saying, hey, we're gonna provide you coverage, we'll put it in paper, we'll staff it 100% of the time, we'll put it in paper, we won't do routine transports, say when, and we will, absolutely. We would not even blink at a service level agreement.
and I'm sorry, would you put in also in that agreement of like, cause, brought up the membership thing of like, yours 2 years, and then you said nobody, then after that, would you put that in an agreement as well?
Whatever we can negotiate. I've been transparent in our other municipalities contribute $5 per capita. They started at 3 and it ramped up to 4 and 5. That's the precedence, that's what's going on in this county. We understand that there's a budgeting process, and this is not something you just show up and do. It would be several years before that would even start. And we would never, under any circumstances, raise that above $5 per capita. Once again, that can be in an agreement, not a problem. I didn't really address this because I think it's a wash between Lifeline and ourselves. We're both saying municipal contribution exists. It does. We're a wash between the two. What I want to do is compare and contrast our separate proposals and say, we don't require locking you down. You can get out of this at will anytime you want. And we're comfortable with that. And if you want a service level agreement, draft it with the guarantees we put, and we'll sign it. Just that clear. Another thing is, we're offering you a chance to nominate someone to put on our board of directors to represent the western municipalities, yourself, South Londonderry, and whoever else we may acquire. That's a voice to manage our business, how we deliver it, and additional protection to your residents, to advocate for your residents and make sure we're doing what we say we're gonna do. You get no such voice with the health system. They are big, and unfortunately, you don't get that kind of voice. I want to touch one more thing that's caught my attention, the smoke and mirrors that is balance billing. As I evaluate our proposal and Keith's proposal, the only thing that their proposal was superior on was they don't balance bill. Large medical center contracts with every insurance, understandable. I gotta be honest with you, I've never been confronted with this. This has never reared its ugly head. This is how we've always done it. So I started digging into balance billing. 90% of our responses right now don't involve any kind of balance billing scenario. They're Medicare, they're Medicaid, they're insurance we contract with. It's not an issue. The 10% that do, when you weigh that and you look at a customer getting a check directly from their insurance, us billing a difference between retail and that, the customer paying us, how much we're gonna write off from that probably not happening. When you're grossly billing $15 million a year, it's almost financially insignificant. So to be honest with you, we're looking at getting rid of memberships perhaps, if that makes sense. But we need to make a smart financial decision. What I'm telling you right here, right now, today, is there's two vehicles to eliminate balance billing. One is we provide every resident of the borough with a membership. There's no balance billing for free. That's one. Number two is we contract with the 4 agencies we don't contract with, and we don't balance bill. We are going to do one of those two things for the borough. So I'll say it right here, right now, put it in your minutes, on the record. No resident of Palmyra Borough will be balance billed as long as we're your ambulance company, period, ever. So I just want to take that right off the table. I think, having a voice is big. And when I say contract, hey, let's have a service agreement, fine, but we're not locking you down to anything. You need the flexibility to change course if you need to change course. No municipality should be locked down for 10 years to anything. What I'm asking you to consider is before you agree to a multi-year contract with anyone, let us show you what we can do. Because we're not a large health system. We're lean, we're mean, we're aggressive, we're hungry. We want to be here. We want to do a good job, and we will. Give us the opportunity and let us show you how we can do that.
Anyone have questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one follow-up here really quickly. The proposal you have in front of us for us says at the top, ground service provider agreement. Oftentimes, we use the term contract, but oftentimes in municipalities, some of the elected officials don't understand that. They look at ground service provider agreement, and that's confusing to them. So it's easier to explain. The other thing is, Greg changed his tone significantly. He came to you last month talking about he needs volume. That's what smaller ambulance associations need, volume. We've been here, again, 28 years without any consideration for the volume of calls. There are plenty of calls in this area. Again, we need help from his organization. He needs help from us. So, that's the real difference. And the balance billing part, again, we have all your citizens covered. We're in network with all the insurances, and that is a big difference here of the different services. patients are responsible for their deductibles and their co-pays, which is between them and their insurance company, has nothing to do with the hospital. But then we accept whatever the insurances pay, and then they don't hear anything further from Penn State Health at that point. That is a big difference in the two proposals. So, thank you for your time.
I can rebuttal. Good one. I don't think tune change. I said at the outset, we want to survive, we want to thrive. We're in business to be in business, to do business. We believe we have a great product to offer, and we're here to offer it. That's the goal. It's growth. Growth is good. Growth allows us to more intelligently deploy the assets we have, and it makes sense for us. So, yeah, we want to be here. I think we put an excellent offer on the table because we want to be in Palmyra Borough. We've talked the talk, and we'll walk the walk, just as we did in South Londonderry Township.
I do have a question. We know they came to one of our council meetings. How did you find out that we were discussing this?
The Lebanon Daily News.
Stephen, you said they can't give you any good news.
Well, you must
Yes,
be one
yeah.
of the few people still getting it, but.
I didn't subscribe. I had to
Sorry.
actually log in and try to read the article, but yeah. So the Lebanon Daily News, and I said, we're looking at a long-term contract. That's, to me, is excessive, and we can do better.
But the long-term contract, you have a 90-day clause.
Yeah,
Right. It's 3 months.
You're not being truthful.
So,
I think we should just stop this. All right. Okay. Thank you.
yes.
Now, I'm going to continue before I was interrupted. Yes, all of a sudden now, Greg's gonna, First Aid and Safety is gonna get all the insurances on board and they're gonna stop balance billing. But the fact remains, right now, they only participate with Highmark and UPMC. The majority of the residents in Palmyra Borough do not have Highmark and UPMC. They have Medicare and Medicaid, which, okay, fine, they participate, that doesn't enter into it. But Highmark and UPMC are not insurances the majority of the residents of Palmyra Borough have. The balance bill, which means you don't have Highmark and UPMC right now, and and we would choose First Aid and Safety, and you need their services.
I apologize, but I'm sort of lost there. You said something about UPMC and.
Highmark are the only two insurances that First Aid and
Right,
Safety.
but you said something about the majority of the people in the borough.
Don't have that insurance. Capital Blue is big around here.
Yes, I mean, you don't know, but,
Well, that's great, Anthony. I'm glad you have Highmark. You're covered.
yeah. I mean, we don't know individual
Right.
who have
But
whatever.
Around
insurance.
central
Yes,
Pennsylvania,
it
it's
is,
Capital.
it is.
It's not Highmark or UPMC. I mean, yes, some people do have that, but for those that don't, if we would go with First Aid and Safety, and they don't have Highmark or UPMC, and they need services, they are gonna, right now, get balance billed. Again, just something to keep in mind.
May I?
And, no. And, all of a sudden, they can offer free memberships to everybody. And again, no offense, but their initial presentation was one thing, and then every time we have something, they can do this, they can do that, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. But just remember, sometimes things sound too good to be true. So just think carefully before we vote. You need to remember you're voting for the borough residents and what is best for them. So that's all I'm gonna say. Don't just vote on who's giving you a sales pitch. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's no disrespect to you.
No, Jay, ma'am, we responded to your, as I mentioned to you, the balance billing was never near as ugly as with us. just trying to adjust to it, to not have hardship and permit risk. 2 vehicles to do that, 3 memberships, or we contract. We'll do one or the other.
Okay.
That's not salesmanship, it's really just, I'm trying to respond to the issues as they come up.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Any other discussion?
Hearing none, I would like to make a motion
Okay. Go for it.
to authorize entering into a ground ambulance service provider agreement with Penn State Health Milton S. Hershey Medical Center, Lifeline, to provide, you can all read it, EMS service for the Palmyra residents of Palmyra Borough at the rate of $3.50 per capita for the first 2 years, $5 per capita for the remaining 8 years of a 10-year agreement.
I will second that. Roll call.
You want a roll call?
Yeah.
The motion on the table is to accept the ground ambulance service provider agreement with Penn State Health Milton S. Hershey Medical Center Lifeline. If you vote yes, you are in agreement with that. Counselor Andrews?
Yes.
Counselor Catalani?
No.
Counselor Fliegel?
Yes.
Counselor Coroli?
Yes.
Counselor Rydell?
No.
Counselor Teche?
Abstain.
Counselor Shear?
Yes.
The motion passes 4-2.
Vote went exactly the way I knew it was going to go.
Do appreciate you and both of you, but you also coming to all the meetings and answering all our questions, giving us all the feedback. We do appreciate it. Okay. All right. That takes us to Resolution 2024-18, America 250 PA, United States 250th birthday. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to approve Resolution 2024-18, supporting the Pennsylvania Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2024-19, discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to approve Resolution 2024-19, appointing Lori Cheatham, 736 East Maple Street, as an other district resident on the Palmyra Cougar Foundation Board as defined by the foundation bylaws. The term shall be from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
I'll second.
What is the Palmyra Cougar Foundation, by the way?
What was the question?
What is
it?
the
Cougar
foundation?
Foundation. They put together programs for the kids in school.
It's a foundation on behalf to support what the kids do athletically and extracurricular. So, and the other district resident is not necessarily something that council has to decide on, but the school district thought it would be nice for her to have support from her community.
Yes, and she's done this.
No, she's
Oh, she
actually,
new?
no, she's actually new on.
Oh, why
Yes,
do I
we have
recognize that
Allison
name?
Hoff, and we have, what's her? Barpolay is, Bo Pillay is the last name, I
that-
can't think of her first name.
her
So
name
those
sounds
are our
familiar, so
two
that's why
borough
it is.
representatives, but they have the right to choose another district resident from any one of the municipalities, and Lori has stepped up
Well-
and said,
Thank her.
yeah.
I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? President's report, I'm just going to thank everybody again for the informative educational discussions that we've had over the past 3 months? 2 months, 3 months regarding EMS service. Again, to both of you. That's all I've got. It's not easy making those decisions. Not at all. Financial statement, or financial report. Everybody has the financial statement. As of June 30th, any questions on that? questions, guys? Fire department.
I do not have any new updates.
Got you out there. Sorry, Dave. Roger, you have anything?
I do not.
Library report did not meet this month. Jane, you got anything?
No. Well, actually, I guess I can put this out there. Thank you to everybody who supported the book sale, because we set another record.
Awesome.
So every year it seems to go up and up and up, so thank you to everybody who supported it.
All right, police department.
We're still moving along, going through the growing pains of the new department, but everything seems to be working well.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Sergeant Strickler? Mayor, you got anything? Okay. Rec Commission did not meet this month. Solicitor's report? Nothing. Zoning and codes enforcement. No hearings are scheduled for the zoning hearing board for Monday, August 12th at 5:30, which takes us to the borough manager's report. Roger, you're up.
Yep. First item kind of is related to solicitor. East Ridge Road, Melrose, the off-site stormwater. This two solicitors have been hashing out the developer's agreement for the off-site stormwater. That I emailed to you earlier and was also copied at your spot tonight. Joselle wanted me to put this on the agenda this evening, but I'm not quite sure what action we're taking yet because we don't have the pipe route identified yet. In meeting with the property owners, they prefer to try to keep the pipe on the north side of Ridge Road, heading west towards Kramer Way, and then down the east side of Kramer Way to the first alley right away out to Lincoln Street. There's some difficulties with that, but Mike from R2 is working on that layout now, and hopefully we'll have a better idea of where we're going here in a few days. But right now, there's really no action to be taken. But at least you have the agreement. I don't think the verbiage of the agreement will change much. It'll just be the pipe route that will change.
So I have a question regarding up there. What have they been doing the past 2 weeks? They've closed the road just about every day. But what have they actually been doing?
I'm not sure. I've been busy doing other things, so I've only stopped up once or twice the last 2 weeks, so I'm not sure what they've been doing. R2 has a person on site daily, checking in with them, logs, which we will get them eventually. I don't get them every day.
Just curious.
Roger, I run there, still haven't seen a water truck up there.
Nope, I haven't either.
No water truck has been on that site period yet.
I talked to Bob the day after the last meeting when you guys said about the water truck, and he insists that they are doing the best they can. They usually water
The water
first thing in the
truck?
morning.
What, sprinkling cans? Because there's no water truck.
I don't know, they said they run 2 trucks of water on it in the morning when it was dry, so, which, you know, it won't last all day, but
And it could be that you're just not seeing.
I saw our
The ground
water
doesn't look
truck
good
for
either.
the first time today. That's nice. It's really a nice piece of equipment. Am I wrong on that?
No.
What?
Am I wrong on that?
No.
Well, you're talking about the borough's water truck,
Yeah.
our vac truck. Yeah, they're talking about the developer's water truck.
No, I'm talking about
Gotcha.
the brand new one.
That one's not up there.
the audit presentation is tentatively scheduled for the August 27th meeting. Seems like we get it a month later every year. I just finished the management discussion and analysis portion of it today, so they have that, so hopefully they'll be here the 27th. And Dr. Seaton is planning on being here at the next meeting on the 13th to present the borough-wide geophysical study and the stormwater model.
Can we hold him to that?
Holds true, yeah. Then under other, we're happy to announce that we hired a new public works superintendent. His name is Clint Krieger. He has 21 years' experience with Lower Paxton Sewer Authority. He kind of led their digging crew, so he's very familiar with all aspects of what we would need to do. So he is scheduled to start next Monday. So he's already been here, he's met the guys, the guys kind of gave him a tour of the lay of the land kind of thing, so sounds like he's excited for a change of pace and doing something.
Did our new officer start yet?
Yes.
That's good news.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, with Michelle's resignation, we have our zoning officer position advertised. We did get an applicant today. It looks like she has some experience. She's moving back from North Carolina, and she does zoning work in North Carolina, so.
Is she gonna stay?
Her family's here apparently, so we'll see. So if anybody knows anybody that likes zoning work, which there's very few in the world that do, send them our way. We're looking for them. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for Roger? All right, under communications, everybody has the petition that was received July 15th. Urging Borough Council to maintain quality of life policing methods to prevent vandalism, littering, loitering, vagrancy, public intoxication, etc.
So I have a question about this. Did something prompt this?
I have no
Because,
idea.
I mean, we just passed a panhandling ordinance, so I'm not sure where all this is coming from. And I do know that 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
5,
yes,
6.
they do not live in the borough.
Yeah. They're not borough residents. I mean, I guess it's a possibility that they could own property in the borough,
No,
but.
it's not.
Okay. But
Sergeant, do you have
I'm
an
not
answer?
sure.
These are larger areas, like take Philadelphia, they're trying to stop.
Yes, no, I get that.
The enforcement
Yeah.
of certain
Right.
less
DAs are,
serious
yeah,
traffic crimes to
yes,
reduce police
yes.
interaction with.
And I'm sure that's why they mentioned the district justice, the DAs, that I get what's going on in the big cities, but
Like, this is not.
But I was a little surprised when I read this, because I was like, what don't I know, that there's an issue here? I think our police department is proactive.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you. And then I looked at addresses, and
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
checked them against our billing.
Thank you.
We don't bill any of these. I think one or two, that's about it.
I admire them for talking about the issues. I don't think that this is an issue in this area, but I do admire them for talking about what we hear in bigger cities.
As a registered voter in Palmyra, I think that's a threat to you all for not doing this or following their request, and they can't vote for you anyway.
Yeah.
So, pointless.
Okay. Any other business? Sergeant, you got anything?
Sir? Yeah, I think.
You have anything? Mayor, you got anything? Mayor, do you have anything else for other business? Okay. No? Nope? Nope. Jane, you got anything? Anthony? Roger, Brenda? Nope. Okay. Public comment period number 2. Please step to the microphone at the podium and state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Any public comments out there? Anybody?
Gosh, I
Gotta
took
break
one,
that guy.
I took one note.
Nothing?
Okay,
You guys are too quiet tonight. You left these 2 gentlemen do all the talking.
Okay.
Nothing? Okay. All right, closing public comment period number 2. Announcement, Borough Council will conduct its next public meetings on Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, and Tuesday, August 27th, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.